You should be able to, but I think the problem with the Eagles, not the problem, but what the Eagles need to do is, the coaches and the teams that come out and they dictate to you. They don't allow you to dictate to them. If they're the best run team in the league, run the ball. Because if you start running it, what do they have to do? They have to now start bringing people up to try and stop it. Then it's much easier for AJ, and for Goddard and for Devontae to go out and run routes then.
Yeah.
Total wreck, man.
Well, listen, I believe it. I can't fault him for that, man. All right, guess who we have? Guess who's ready to rock and roll? Yes, former Eagle, former Washington player, former Giant. Of course, now you can hear him 106.7 The Fan, and of course NBC Sports Washington. We've had him on the show before, friend of the show. Always great speaking with him. That's Brian Mitchell. Brian, how are you, man?
Hey, Mitch.
I'm good, brother. How y'all doing, man?
Good, man.
Brian, we're great, man. We're great. We're excited for this game. Divisional matchup. We know it's never. We can sit there all week and say this is going to happen, that's going to happen, but you know this better than anybody probably on the earth because you played in 3 of the 4 of the teams. You do really. It sounds cliche, but you throw a lot of that stuff out when it's a division game. Is that still not true?
You do throw it out the window. I think when everything is equal, you can throw it out the window for the most part. But
oh well, okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
Right, I think I know where we're going. All right,
this is what I've been waiting for.
When I look at this team, I think as I just finished my radio show and I was talking to him earlier, I said it seems like the narrative here has come to we're trying to make it seem like the Eagles defense isn't as good as they are. I say they're not as good as they used to be, but they're still better than anything we've seen, and I think we're doing that because we notice, yes, they've had some success offensively, but you also have to look at the Detroit game and say, well, Detroit was up so far and they weren't playing a real defense. Mm-hmm. They were kind of playing more of a prevent. They allowed us back in the game. As soon as we got close, they scored another touchdown and put it away anyway. Mm-hmm. I just think that ultimately there were some negative things people are trying not to look at, but as a former player, I look at those things. Mm-hmm. And I saw things get a little worse in the Detroit game, although they did do great in the second half, but I also know how teams play in the second half. So I'm concerned because of what I saw Monday night with the Eagles. They seem as complete as can possibly be. And I think they took their foot off the gas in the second half a little bit, which allowed it not to be as bad as it should have been. Like 24-7, that game should have been 38-40-7.
Yes. Big Mitch. I broke down the film, man, and I'm watching your defense. And they had a bear front end. They had Navajo. They covered the center and both guards. That's a run stop. A 50, that's a run stopping front. And Swift was still running on them. Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh. Is that a problem? Is that a bigger problem as I'm thinking it is?
Well, they put the 5-man front end, and they've been touting this for a long time. And I don't think many people remember this. You go back to it was a 46 defense, I think they called it.
Yeah, yep.
In 85, that was the Bears started it.
Yep.
Then you go to Buddy Ryan in Philadelphia, where we called it solid dub fist, where
solid dub.
People over the guard. On one side, you got the guy outside of the tackle. Then on the other side, you have a guy outside the tackle, but you bring a linebacker up and you move the linebacker over it. And it's normally something that can stop the run. Joe Gibbs found a way to run against it.
Yeah,
and we were out of it. Now, when I look at this team, I liken it back to when I was with Washington with North Turner. We played against Sean Gilbert and the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
They had this huge defensive line. What do you do to that? You run outside. They're running back and forth. Then you go straight down the middle of the field on them because they're tired now. And I think what is happening where this D-line, Jonathan Allen is good, but he's hurt. Deron Payne has played better than anybody on the D-line this year. But that's 2 of your 5. And if I can block them and I can get the other 3 guys better than the other one, I got holes to run through. And they have an issue at the second level. The linebackers aren't feeling up playing well. I had a former player, I'm not going to throw his name out there, but he was saying the D linemen are playing good, but guess what? They have nobody filling the holes. Mm-hmm. I found out something the other day that D linemen have 2 gaps to play. You got 2 gaps to play, you're not playing any of them. Linebackers, you got 2 gaps, you're not playing any. So that's where the problems are coming from. I'm looking at this team. This is the 3rd year they're in this defense. And I'm still seeing the same thing. So I've always said these coaches like to go and talk about how difficult their stuff is. When it's too difficult for your players to get it, then you know what? It's too damn difficult. Simplify it and use your strengths and go with it. You don't do that, you're going to have problems.
Hey, B. Mitch, how bad is that offensive line in Washington?
You know what? They're not as bad as they have seen. It's the injuries. Then you look now, Rouye is out, okay? Rouye is the best center they had. He was coming off an injury. Now he's out again, okay? Your right guard, the guy who came from Carolina that was running around guys, he's been hurt, missed most of the of training camp. Trey Turner missed most of training camp. You got people playing in those spots. Now you got Schweitzer playing. He's not a real center. He's a guard. You know, Cosme is a second-year guy trying to learn. Leno has played okay, but he hasn't played terrific because if Aiden Hutchinson doesn't get hurt, he had 6-7 sacks himself last week. I think that's the thing about it where, you know, Aiden Hutchinson was eating them alive. So I don't know if anybody is on this same roster on Philadelphia like they are in Detroit, but he gave both of those tackles problems. They were moving him back and forth. Okay,
we witnessed it too.
Next week you got Micah Parsons. So you know, it doesn't get any better. And like what I've always tried to be a guy like this. I'd rather tell you the truth and tell you what I truly see. And I see some positives. This offense they're potent with their receivers now. They can do some things, but you look at Philly, they got some good defensive backs. Will they run as free as they did against Jacksonville? Will they be able to do the things they did in the second half against Detroit? Because I saw Slay playing the other night, and Jefferson is considered top 3 in this league. He didn't do much against Slay. You know, Bradbury is a guy who can play. So ultimately now we're starting to see where we did some things against lesser teams. Now we're going to start playing teams that are not as bad as we are. Will we be able to do those same things? And that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, and they've struggled. The Washington has defending the run as well, and we know that's probably the Eagles' greatest strength. I mean, last year they were number 1. I think they're number 2 this year, whatever it is. Is this a game, if you're the Eagles, as much as there's the allure of throwing it to A.J. Brown and Devontae, that you should be able to get a lot done on the ground? Well,
you should be able to, but I think the problem with the Eagles, not the problem, but what the Eagles need to do is, you know, the coaches and the teams that come out and they dictate to you. They don't allow you to dictate to them. If they're the best run team in the league, run the ball. Because if you start running it, what do they have to do? They have to now start bringing people up to try and stop it. Then it's much easier for AJ, you know, and for Goddard and for Devontae to go out and run routes then. So if Eagles keep doing what they've been doing, they should dictate to them. I don't think, like I saw in the first game with Washington, they came out quick game. Jacksonville didn't know what was going on. In the next game, they went completely away from that. Why? You were good at it. Nobody stopped it yet. Keep doing it. So I would say if Jalen Hurts and that running game is the biggest threat you have, you start with that, and then all of a sudden you find out the passes are even easier.
I'd say, hold on a second. Guys, did I not say everything that he just said? Did I not just say this early on today?
No, yes. I didn't hear you say it. I didn't hear you say it. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. That's what I said. You got to go out there, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. Mm-hmm. You do what you do best, and let them do all the correcting and see if you can stop. You know,
I liken it to back in the day. You knew when John Riggins ran off the sideline, they running 60-70 pounds. And Joe Gibbs didn't care if he was in a 4-3, a 3-4, a solid dub, or whatever he wanted to do. He ran the 60-70 counter, and he did. I think I look at the Eagles, you're looking at one of the best offensive lines in the league. Why would you be concerned about anybody you're playing against? You know, I'm running the ball. If I get 4 yards the first one, I'm going to see if I get 4 the second one. You know, and then I'm going to keep doing that all game because we know when you're being lean, like I always tell everybody, I don't care how much you weigh, grab somebody your size and wrestle with them for about 4 or 5 seconds and let them go, and then grab them again. Watch how tired you get because the aggressor is going to be less tired than the guy who has to defend. So if I'm teeing off on you running the football, you're going to get tired before I get tired.
Yeah. Hey, B. Mitch, give me your assessment of Carson Wentz and how he's been fitting in, and can he be a long-term solution to what has been a quarterback carousel down there since 2018?
When you look at him, he has all the athletic ability and all the physical talents and attributes that you need to be a great quarterback. He has the size and things of that nature. Right now, Carson is saying everything that he needs to say. He's being the perfect guy, saying all the right stuff. But he's had some level of success thus far, you know, and he's in a town right now where they haven't had a good quarterback in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been over since I stopped playing ball here. I guarantee it's been 25 quarterbacks. Okay, and you're talking about since what 2000 when I left there game to Philly. So in about 22 years, it's been well over 25 quarterbacks.
Jeez.
And when you begin to look at that, and now you got a guy, and everybody said, well, he's better than what we had. Okay, well, let's look at this fact. In the first game, he threw two interceptions and 3 passes that allowed a team to get back into a game. Then he had to have a great game too. He must get you back into it. So what he had to fight back from, he inflicted it on the team himself. Now in the last game, in the first half, everyone is saying, "Oh man, we couldn't do anything." He held onto the ball long. He was the one that got the safety in the end zone because he started. They were on the 5-yard line. Okay, he was on the goal line. When he gave up the sack, he was 4 yards deep. So why do you need to be 9 yards deep? So this is the things he needs to worry about. He has the long windup. So I think he still has things that I can see people working against that can work against him, but he has the big arm to throw the ball down the field to a Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has the pass. We could put it in the right spot for Jahan Dotson. But the question I would ask is, if things are not happening good, will that quarterback be the calm, cool, collective guy that you want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Who you talking about? I know you're not talking about Carson.
I'm saying, so for long, I'll say this. So when we ask the question about long term, Carson came in. He has a contract where he makes $28 million this year, which is low compared to the top notch quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They said he's our guy. We think he's gonna be our guy for a long time. Well, next year he makes 27, and next year he makes 26. They had to let people go. Tim Settle, Matt Ioannidis, guys that gave them depth on the defensive line.
Absolutely.
If he was that much their guy, you tear that contract up and you give him a new deal, you have more money to spend. You don't have to let those 2 guys go, right? So they didn't make a commitment to him for a long term, because if things don't work out this year, they can let him go and they owe nothing.
Wow.
So they got themselves in a position where they're saying, hey, show us. But if you don't, they'll go to the next one.
Well, Brian, let me ask you just on that for a minute with Wentz. You know, you look at the numbers, and across the board, they're pretty good, other than the interceptions. And I'm not just glossing over that. I know that's a big deal. But from what you've seen, has he been the same guy that we saw here where, oh, my God, he's going to blow you away 1 minute with something, and then the next minute you're saying, oh, like, how can that even happen? Has it been that way?
You know what? I can tell you this, and Barry said he saw the film. I watched the film, and I can tell you he had 3 interceptions. He could easily have over 10 right now.
Okay.
In the last game against Detroit, there were 3 that were directly in guys' hands that they dropped, and another one that was kind of would have had to be a great catch.
Right.
You know, and when you look at the Pro Football Reference grade and stuff like that, PFF, what they are telling you is the amount of balls that are hitting other people's hands and they're dropping them, they give you a negative grade for that. You know what I'm saying? So people see, oh, he just set a franchise record for 7 touchdown passes in the first 2 games. It's been a running football team for years. So that's not saying much, really, to be honest with you. But yes, I give him credit for the touchdown, but I'm still looking at how many balls were in other people's hands, and that's why they play DB, I guess, because they can't catch. You know? and that troubles me, because when you start playing the better teams, I watch Slay. Let those same balls touch his hands. I guarantee you they won't beat on incompletions.
Right.
So until I watch games where you can watch certain games and there are quarterbacks that don't put the ball anywhere near another team's hands. So he's better than what they had. And if that's what you want to just go by somebody being better than what you have, then you can have somebody better, but that doesn't mean he's in the best of the league.
Gotcha.
Is Jahan Dotson legit?
He's for real. You know, watching him in training camp and watching Santana Moss go around him and talk with him, and he was giving me a lot of praise on him. Torrey Smith, former Eagle up there, he told me the same thing. Then you watch this kid. This kid can run. He runs every route. And, you know, Barry, you know this, like most receivers, even in the NFL, catch the ball with their body or something like that.
Yep.
He touches everything with his hands.
Wow,
he looks at him.
That's a leg up, yeah.
The kid, he has all the skills, and he works at it. Then he's mature like Terry McLaurin. That's why he reminded me so much of Terry, and I say I hope this kid can play, because I'm comparing him to Terry already, and this dude can play, man.
Your other guy, Samuels, man, people don't understand how much of a weapon he is.
Yeah.
They use him like a Debo Samuels. They use him as far as getting that offense to click. a jet sweep, get the defense going in a certain direction. He has become that guy that you guys haven't had in a long time, man. In fact, so much though that Sims isn't even touching the field right now.
Yeah, Sims not touching the field, and I think he's more the guy that they want to use when they get down in the red zone and things of that nature. But Curtis Samuel, he can run the ball at the backfield. He can run routes out the backfield. He can jet sweep. He can line up in a slot outside. He can do everything. But I heard him in an interview today. He's a former running back. But I don't think he's built like a Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel,
no, that's a thick dude.
What can happen in that situation where he set out, but he had most of the games out last year because of a groin injury. He had surgery. They hid that for a while. That came out eventually. But if you overuse him, are you jeopardizing him? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like Christian McCaffrey. Everybody thought was the best ever. In college he was, but how many years does he play every game? Not often. Yeah, so you have to be careful with that. And I think they need to watch Curtis out tremendously.
Brian, your thoughts, from a little bit of a distance watching Jalen Hurts and kind of where his game has gone. We're obviously blown away by the game Monday night, and we're seeing big time improvement. But what's your sense here?
Well, I think, the one thing about him, you have to be a fan of him when he was in college and he was benched and the way he handled that. He handled it as a consummate pro. He did it better than most professionals would have handled it. Mm-hmm. Then this kid, he passed the ball very effectively in Alabama. He passed the ball effectively when he went to Oklahoma. But when he got to the pros, people go, when you're an athletic quarterback, they want to say, oh, man, he can't throw the football. Well, he threw a lot of touchdowns. So he has to just improve it because those late passes in college become touchdowns the other way in the pros.
Right.
I watched him in the game on Monday night, and I'm gonna tell you, man, he put the one that got it, put in his hand and came down, and the guy knocked it out.
Best throw of the game, I think.
Best one.
Put balls in spots that they were supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, he seems to be anticipating throws instead of like most college, even the passing quarterbacks that come out of college, they wait till the guy gets open to try to get the ball to him. He is throwing the ball now before guys break. He's throwing the guy before a guy turns. And I think that right there shows a lot about him taking a step forward. I hear how much he likes to work and all the work he's putting in. And that game showed me that people wouldn't just blowing smoke. It's the truth. Because I watched him throw so many anticipatory passes that it didn't look like he's that running quarterback that could throw the ball. He seemed like a straight pass in the pocket to me.
What does Washington have to do to keep this game close? Or is it they just don't have the personnel to keep this game close?
They have to get a running game. I mean, if they can run the football, then they give themselves a chance to use the weapons that they have. If they can run the ball and they make the Eagles have to go some one-on-ones and deal with those guys, I think that Curtis, Jahan, and Terry can do some things. And then Logan Thomas has come back and he's looking good too. But you have to run the ball and you have to get touchdowns at the end. You can't be running, taking time off the clock, kicking field goal. And then I don't have faith in George Sly anyway. So ultimately they have to have, and they can't turn the ball over and they can't stop the run. So I go old school. They better run the ball and stop the run or they're going to lose the game.
Do you think Coach Rivera has lost his message there? Do they still hear his message? Is he still the head coach that they need going forward?
I think they get his message because one thing about Ron, he's a communicator. People like him. And just because somebody like you don't mean you're the actual great person or the right person for some things. Mm-hmm. I look at the overall. So Ron has coached this is his 12th year coaching. If you don't have a winning season this year, he had 3 games that were over 500. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. 3 years. It'll be 6 that were, 9 on the other side. So is he a good coach? Yes. But just like, I have kids now, and my kids I got kids married, they're going to be having kids here soon. I'm not going to treat my grandkids like I taught my kids. And sometimes I pick up a little bit of, Ron is not even when I played in Philly and he was there, he was more fiery than he is now. He played for the 85 Bears. That was that team wasn't no Bible told us, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you can lose the message, and then his mindset with this new rules and all that is like getting people to week 1. Football is not week 1. Football is 17 weeks now. So I don't care about what the new rules are. You still got to prepare your guys to play football, and their training camps are, if I was in their training camps, I played 22 years.
Easy.
That
It's
sounds
even
like
worse
an
than
Eagle.
Philly.
Sounds like an Eagle training camp.
Even worse than Philly.
Think about it, though. You look at even like it may not amount to much, but you look at even the Rams. The Rams are defending champions. All the talent in the world. They were embarrassed the first game.
That's right.
You still have to play football to get ready to play football. Or
right.
what we should do is get rid of preseason altogether, because the first 3-4 weeks of regular season is preseason any damn way.
That's right. You're exactly right.
Brian, the NFC looks pretty wide open, especially compared to the AFC. Is there anybody who you feel like you touched on the Rams, but yeah, the Packers have their issues. The Bucks, even though they are undefeated, a lot of injuries and kind of what's going on with Brady. What's your sense of the entire conference?
I still believe, like, you look at the defense in Tampa and Tom Brady, we know what he's capable of. You have to still put them up there. Aaron Rodgers lost a lot when he lost Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
He can say what he want, they can think what they want. You can't make those other guys Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense now is playing a lot more. We're seeing that they're going to lose some effectiveness. I think you have to throw the Eagles up there because, what they've done thus far. And you see Jalen Hurts is not what people thought. Oh, he's just a running quarterback. No, he can throw it. And he has weapons that can hurt you. Mm-hmm. So you have to respect everybody. The thing that makes the Eagles so, I would say, dangerous is you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez out there.
Yeah, Quez Watkins.
Got it. That's 4 people in the passing game you have to watch. You have 2 effective running backs, a quarterback who could break your back, and one of you let's say top 5 offensive line in the league. They can put points on you. Then you look at their defense, and the defensive line may not be as potent and dominant as they were, but they still better than most. Mm-hmm. And then the secondary that can pick the ball off and do some great things. That's deadly. Most teams, like we look at a lot of the other teams, they don't have all of that. But the people I named, they all have it. Now, the Rams, I'm not counting the Rams out. Sean McVay is a magician with an offense, and they got enough defensive firepower where they should come back if they don't allow themselves to drop too far behind.
Good stuff.
Wow.
Good stuff, Brian. Listen, man, we're looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be fun, and we always love when you come on the show.
Appreciate it, B-Mitch.
Couple minutes, man. Thank you.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Be good, man.
All right. You got it. That's Brian Mitchell. Yeah, Brian Mitchell again. Follow him on Twitter. Brian, as we said, always a straight shooter, man. At B-Mitch Live NBCS. And also he does middays, right, Gunner, at 106.7 The Fan?
No, from 10 to 2.
Yeah. I got you. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Interesting insights there, right? I mean,